We now know it will be either Charlton Athletic or Leyton Orient joining the Championship next season after the conclusion in typically dramatic fashion. I probably don't even need to say that when I'm talking about playoffs. But after the conclusion of the League One playoffs last night, let's get in there straight away. Get down there in the comments. Who would you like to see in the Championship? Who do you think you'll be seeing in the Championship? We'll do a proper preview on this game next week. But good to share early thoughts now, 9-10 days out. I think they're playing the Sunday after the Championship playoff final. Let's start with last night, and I've put double grind down there because actually during both these games I got kind of text messages and WhatsApps and stuff saying, Benny, you watching this playoff game? It is it's a tough one. It's a tricky one. It's a hard watch. It was very, very risk averse between Charlton and Wycombe. Obviously the first leg at the weekend ended 0-0, and you can get Sam's take on that from the last check-in podcast. He did the game for TV, so he'll speak about it in way more detail with way more credibility than I would. I did catch the majority of the game last night, and from what I understand, more of the same from the first leg, with a lot of pressing, a lot of get the ball away from our goal, stay in shape, work back from there. Not very many chances. It's tournament football, guys, as I say a million times. One mistake can kill you. And I mean, look at the other games we've talked about already this week, where over 180 minutes and a 123rd minute win for Sunderland, we're still talking about a mistake in the first leg where a bad back pass is capitalised on. So these sides were, and I think both sets of fan bases would admit it, trying to sort of avoid defeat. And it was interesting that Nathan Jones spoke in his post-match about pressing and about keeping 2 clean sheets and his pride about that. And I was really interested in it being Nathan Jones in the dugout, because I was there for Huddersfield versus Luton, that playoff semi-final. It was Corberon versus Jones, and it was equally cagey, and it was settled by a fox in a box, Jordan Rhodes, scoring the winning goal for the home side in the second leg, quite close to the end of the game. You know, not kind of a last second like we saw from Dan Ballard and Sunderland earlier in the week in the Championship playoffs, but certainly not a lot of time to react. And you go immediately from, oh, this is a cagey game that's going the distance, to, oh, well, they're probably not going to equalise given what we've seen. Is that Charlton in the final? Because Matt Godden got the winning goal. And this was the type of goal it was going to be. It just got launched forward, didn't it? And I think it's Jones getting forward, and keeper's not quite there to clear everything out as he comes off his line. And Matt Godden has scored a ton of goals for Charlton this season. He was the fox in the box like Jordan Rhodes was for Huddersfield. And this time, it wasn't a goal going against Nathan Jones in the playoff semi-final second leg for a 1-0 type victory. It was a goal going for Nathan Jones, who I've got to say was absolute box office on the touchline, wasn't he? And let's just mention about Matt Godden. I did just have to look it up because I was at the game, but hey, I've been to a lot of games and I've forgotten a lot of the minutiae. Matt Godden, of course, was not only involved in that Coventry City playoff final shootout against Luton. I didn't realise I'd forgotten. He actually took the first penalty and scored as well. So maybe a redemption arc for multiple figures, as we always get in playoff dialogue. There we go, Charlton in the final. Quick word on Wycombe, where I know there's ownership there and maybe a bit more backing than they've had in the past in the the big great days under Gareth Ainsworth, where they did get into the Championship. But I think the story for them is going to be flying high, and the manager, and this is all so incestuous, isn't it? The manager, Matt Bloomfield, goes out to Luton, of course, Nathan Jones' former club. Nathan Jones had a massive hand in building Luton, and they could now pass ships passing in the night, because Luton, of course, have been relegated to League One. Charlton could pass them. Wycombe will now definitely be playing against Matt Bloomfield, assuming he's still the manager there, next season in League One. So so many. It's like Game of Thrones where you literally need to write it down to piece together all of the plot twists. But well done, Charlton. It was very much a double grind, and they are at Wembley to face Leyton Orient. We'll talk about Orient in just a second. Let me just give one more plug before we go into the League Two games for Fantasy EFL playoffs. Really enjoyed partnering the EFL for this promotion for a great little mini game of Fantasy League. There's been around for playoff first legs, around for playoff second legs. You can still join us for the finals where you can pick your team from the finalists. And now we know you're going to be picking players from Sunderland, Sheffield United, Charlton and Leyton Orient. We'll get the rest of the lineup when the League Two games are all done. Tomorrow lunchtime, we will know the final 6 in EFL action this season. But do click down there where you will see a link through. Let them know that we sent you here from the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. And there's also a code where you can enter the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel League. And if you're really on it with one of the weekly prizes, look at that. You can win hospitality tickets on the opening day, 1 year of Now TV subscription, and a home and away shirt for your club. All those prizes up for grabs. EFL Fantasy Playoffs. Get down there in the description. A link through from our channel. And come and join the league. Play against me. What's the worst that could happen? Hey, what's the worst that can happen? You can lose a playoff semi-final after scoring 87 points in the regular season at home on penalties. That's what happened to Stockport County because Leyton Orient, as you can see, were penalty perfect. They scored all 4 of theirs, won 4-1. And what an absolutely brilliant story this is from Leyton Orient and from Richie Wellens. I don't know my history perfectly for Leyton Orient here. I can see back to 2012-13 on my FootMob app down here, and it would appear the highest they've been in this past sort of... does that go even further? It does. I can get back to 2010. Is 3rd place in League One in 2013-14. So Leyton Orient are not really a team with championship kind of livery and history and reputation in the immediate past. I don't know further back. Maybe Orient fans can help me out with that. But what a run they are on under Richie Wellens, who I know there was an ownership change, but he came in League Two, didn't he? And took them up as champions, and then brilliantly stabilised last season, 11th. I mean, to be fair, there's been a lot of good work from Stevenage. Did well in the first season. Stockport, of course, who we're talking about as the opponent, have come up last season and finished 3rd. This is Orient's 2nd season, and they've finished 6th. They've been an interesting one to follow, I've got to say, because they've been rather streaky. There's been times in the season where they've won, I don't know, it feels like they've won 8 out of 9 or 8 out of 10 or something, and then slipped off, and they've kind of gone up and down. They were pushing up towards the playoffs, and you're like, can they get in there? And then, I don't know, just before the end of the season, they had a little bit of a poor run, and you're like, have they blown it now? Got to say, a little bit of a poor run. This is February. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defeats in a row. And interestingly, listen to the middle one of this. Bolton, Birmingham, Charlton, Rotherham and Northampton they lost to. But then, to end the season, absolutely brilliant. Before the playoffs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight wins, including against Wycombe vitally in that running. To get in to face Stockport. And I don't know, you tell me, was this the best tie out of all the playoffs so far? I don't know. I think the Sunderland Coventry one's going to go down in history for the finish. But I think across the 2 games, this was brilliant, wasn't it? 2-2 in the first game. Obviously, a large dose of controversy with refereeing decisions, and Kelman's goal was clearly offside to start the game, and then does it get evened up with the penalty? I don't know. You tell me. Only the referee's ever going to know that, is it? But it ends 2-2. Brilliant first leg. And this one, you kind of got a grenade thrown in straight away. I was kind of with the misses, but I had it on the iPad, and like immediately Orient just kind of just a quick ball in the channel, and O'Neill drove one in. And then Stockport then have to chase the game, and they push and they push and they push, and then they get the goal on 74 through Alafe. And then you almost look at it like that Coventry-Sunderland game, where it's like, oh, the momentum's now with them, and we're heading possibly towards extra time and penalties. You make them favourites. But actually, in both occasions, that doesn't happen. It actually turns around to the team who, was kind of in front and got pegged back, indeed. So we go to extra time. We go to penalties. I was fascinated. I listened to Welling's post-match. He said that for policing, they already knew before the game the end that the penalties were going to be taken. And I've got to say, for those of you that don't like penalties and find them all, oh, they're unfair, the playoffs are unfair, penalties are unfair. Well, maybe that could be a solution for you people. Why don't we decide which end and decide who's taking first before the game? You can just draw it, can't you? We just do it before, we do it way before, can't you? And then that's one extra element of chaos the players don't have to cope with. I personally love the challenge. I think it's great. They don't know. You don't know which end you're going. You don't know who's taking first. Remember, exponentially, the side that takes first wins penalties. I think Dave Challoner mentioned that after the fact. But a brilliant set of penalties from Orient. They won 4-1. It was only Ollie Norwood. To be fair, I think they only got 3 penalties, really, didn't they? And that's the hard thing about taking second, isn't it? It can be over in a flash. Norwood, who was great on the set plays during the game, he's had promotions out of his backside, hasn't he, through his career? Name them all in the comments. I think one with Fulham, one with Brighton, probably a couple with Sheffield United. Would have been another one here with Stockport as well. Would he have had one? Was he with Stockport last year, Norwood? So there'd be another one there. Anyway, Norwood, I tell you what, no one's had more than Dave Challoner, the Stockport manager, anyway. But what I was trying to say, I'm bimbling around my point, is that one off the post, one saved, one scored, and it's all over for Stockport, wasn't it? And Richie Wellens kind of said that he wouldn't have wanted anyone else in goal other than Josh Keeley, who they've got. Is he on loan? Does it say? Hang on, I'm just pressing here. Player profile, Josh Keeley, career. Is he on loan from Spurs, is he? Or is he there permanently? It says Leyton Orient on loan, doesn't it? I don't know. You tell me in the chat, but he was the key guy in the penalty shootout. And yeah, just a brilliant run. I mean, whoever was going to be in the final out of these two, the story was going to be, as we had with Luton and Coventry in the Championship, a team coming up the league and doing superlatively well. I think some people argue it's even more impressive from Orient's point of view, considering where they've come from. And, Stockport have been backed from quite a low position, haven't they? And not that it would have been spectacular for them to get in there too and face Charlton. But I do want to say, we'll talk about Wellens in a minute, actually, but what a job as well. It does feel like these two clubs have got Championship level managers in League One in terms of Charlton and Orient. So Orient in the final, outstanding, incredible, use whatever words you want. And Stockport, nobody is going to be surprised, guys. With Birmingham and Wrexham having gone, in terms of two massively moneyed teams. Other than those two, Stockport were the most consistent. And you can say Charlton and Orient, who are in the final, have timed it better. But my point being, nobody is going to be surprised if Stockport are in people's automatic promotion picks for next season. So we go to the final. We go to Wembley. My mate Chris texted me. I texted him when the goal went in, actually, and then he replied saying we never lose at Wembley, or we always win at Wembley, or whatever. Charlton do have a good record there in playoffs, don't you? In fact, I was at the last one against Sunderland where they got the victory. And of course, the most famous playoff final, any division probably of all time, is Charlton 4, Sunderland 4, and Mickey Gray missing and Clive Mendonca's hat-trick. And Kirbishley, the camera went to him multiple times last night, put it that way. But yeah, I think they're only 7 miles apart, these two, so it's a kind of London Derby. All the fans will be travelling across from east to west, won't they, to fill up Wembley, no doubt. It's going to be brilliant. And yeah, the two managers, surely, and this is no disrespect to League One, to Charlton or Orient, but they're going to be working at a higher level, aren't they? Nathan Jones already has had the sharp rise up with Luton. Cup of tea then with Stoke. That didn't work. Cup of tea with Southampton in the Premier League after going back to Luton. And Jones is right. His fingerprints are all over Luton's massive rise up the league. So I don't know. Are they? It's a bit like when Watford got Graham Taylor at the end there. They got him in League One, didn't they? And went right through to the Premier League. I think sometimes you can just get a manager at the right time who's probably a higher level. And I think that's the case for Nathan Jones. And by the way, Richie Wellens, what a performance. And I don't want to be that guy who's, sycophantic just because they've met someone. But we had Wellens in when I was at ITV. In fact, just after Leyton Orient had got promoted from League Two. And you can just tell the charisma of the guy about what a natural leader and a natural people person he is. And it does feel like two cult of personality managers, two very good managers. And I think whatever happens at Wembley, surely, one of them's definitely finding their way into the Championship. And you would think eventually the other will come what may by whatever means necessary. So there you go. It's going to be Charlton versus Orient in the final. We could have Charlton back one season. 1920 wasn't COVID. They actually started it brilliantly, and I think we're quite unlucky to go down. A lot of mitigating circumstances at the high points total, and a surge from Barnsley at the end relegating Charlton there. And Orient, I mean, it would be a real fresh face in the Championship, wouldn't it? Let me know your thoughts. Again, I'll reiterate the question from the start of the video. Who do you want to see up there? Who do you think you're going to see up there? We'll get Sam's take on it as well on the check-in podcast, which is probably going to be early next week, guys. Apologies if you're waiting to hear from Sam. You will. Don't worry about that. And you can also hear a bit more from me if you click up there on what the Championship might look like next season. We did a bit of a deep dive, and I said a few times in that video, I'll know more in 24 hours' time because we can define down the third League One promotion to two teams. And there they are. Get involved with that video. Get involved with the comments. And a huge congratulations to Charlton and Leyton Orient. Go and get sorted your tickets for Wembley.